Tonight's stories explore how humans lived after dark, long before electric light changed the night. These are real practices, real routines, and real ways people rested, watched, and moved through darkness. You don't need to listen closely. There's nothing here to learn and nothing to remember. Let the stories unfold slowly, one at a time. If you fall asleep, that's perfectly fine. The stories will continue on their own. How ancient people navigated by the stars. Long before artificial light softened the night, the sky played a different role in human life. After sunset, darkness did not mean the end of movement. It meant a change in attention. Across many ancient cultures, the stars were not decoration. They were reference points. In the Mediterranean world, sailors learned the night sky carefully, often before they learned the coastline. Written records from ancient Greece and Rome describe this clearly. When land disappeared from view, the sky remained. One group of stars was especially important. Today, it is called Ursa Minor. Within it is a star that appears almost still. Modern astronomy calls it Polaris. To ancient travelers, it was simply the fixed point. Other stars moved across the sky, rising and setting slowly. This one did not. By keeping it in view, sailors could hold their direction even on long journeys over open water. In desert regions of North Africa and the Middle East, the night sky served a similar purpose. Travel during the day was often avoided. Heat made movement difficult, so caravans moved at night. Star patterns were memorized through repetition, not written instruction. Knowledge passed quietly from elder to apprentice, from parent to child. The sky itself was the map. In ancient China, astronomers recorded the movement of stars with care. They did this not only for navigation, but for timekeeping. The night sky helped regulate planting, harvest, and ceremony. Stone observatories were aligned with specific stars and predictable movements. They were not built for spectacle. They were built for consistency. The sky did not rush. It moved slowly, and it returned night after night. For people without clocks, this predictability offered comfort. Even when life on the ground felt uncertain, the stars remained. In Polynesian cultures, navigation by the stars reached remarkable levels of precision. Navigators memorized entire star paths. They knew which stars rose and set at specific points on the horizon. And during particular seasons, they combined this knowledge with ocean swells, wind patterns, and the behavior of birds. All of this was learned without written charts. Only observation. Only attention. For these navigators, the stars were not distant objects. They were companions, markers of progress, reassurance during long nights. Night travel required calm. Mistakes could not be corrected quickly. Panic made things worse, so movement remained steady. Breathing slowed. Awareness widened. Even on land, stars shape travel. Roman soldiers recorded night marches guided by familiar constellations. Their progress was measured, not by distance, but by how the sky shifted overhead. When clouds covered the stars, travel often paused. Waiting was safer than guessing. This relationship with the night sky shaped how people understood time. Hours were not counted. They were felt. The passing of the night was marked by rising stars, by familiar patterns changing position. Morning arrived not by alarm, but by the gradual lightening of the sky. Modern navigation no longer depends on this knowledge, but traces of it remain. Even now, many people feel calmer under a clear night sky. Something about its slow movement encourages patience. For most of human history, the stars offered direction, structure, and quiet reassurance. They asked for attention, but never urgency. And for those who learn to read them, they provided a steady guide through the dark. For most of history, cities did not sleep all at once. When night fell and homes grew quiet, certain people remained awake. They were known as watchmen, guards, or sentries. Their role was simple. They watched while others rested. In medieval towns, night watches were organized by local councils. Citizens often took turns serving. They walked slowly along walls and narrow streets. Rushing served no purpose. The night required patience. Watchmen carried lanterns, staffs, or bells. Their presence was meant to be known. Not hidden. Visibility brought reassurance. In some cities, watchmen called out the hour as they passed. These calls were not precise. They were reminders. All is well, some would say. It was less a report and more a ritual. In ancient Rome, night watches were formalized. They were called the vigiles. They moved through the city as most people slept. Records suggest their work was quiet and repetitive. Most nights passed without incident. Still, their presence mattered. Night needed witnesses. Those who stayed awake learned its rhythms. They knew when streets settled. They knew when animals moved. They recognized the slow approach of morning. The night watch was not heroic. It was steady. And because of it, others slept more easily. Before clocks were common, sound often marked the arrival of night. In many towns, bells rang at dusk. This signaled curfew. Gates closed. Shops shuttered. Fires were banked. This was not punishment. It was coordination. Darkness brought risk. Streets were uneven. Light was limited. The bell's sound traveled farther than light ever could. People adjusted their movements. Families returned home. Travelers sought shelter. Conversation moved indoors. Some cities use different bells for different moments of night. Dusk, full dark. The approach of morning. These sounds created shared time. No one checked the hour. They listened. When the bell faded, stillness followed. And within that stillness, rest arrived more easily. In walled cities, the closing of gates was a daily ritual. At sunset, guards prepared the mechanisms. Heavy doors swung inward. Locks were secured. Anyone outside waited until morning. This shaped behavior. Journeys were planned with daylight in mind. Distance mattered less than sunset. Inside the walls, night grew quieter. The city became contained. Records describe a sense of safety once the gates closed. Darkness was not feared. It was respected. It marked a pause. When morning came, gates opened slowly. Movement returned. The world resumed. Not all nighttime activity disappeared. In warmer climates, night markets emerged. They operated under moonlight and lanterns. These were not bustling spectacles. They were subdued gatherings. Voices were lower. Movement was careful. Food was prepared slowly. Goods were examined by touch. The absence of harsh light changed behavior. Transactions took time. Markets ended when energy faded. Not at a fixed hour. They followed the body. When they closed, the night returned gently. In monasteries, Night was not empty. It was structured. Monks followed schedules that divided night into rest and wakefulness. Vigils, matins, these hours were observed quietly. Candles provided limited light. Movement was minimal. Afterward, monks returned to rest. Segmented sleep was common. People slept, woke briefly, and slept again. The night allowed reflection. Sleep did not need to be continuous to be restorative. Before powered telescopes, observatories relied on darkness. In the Islamic world, astronomers built away from city light. They observed patiently. Notes were taken slowly. Silence helped concentration. In China, court astronomers recorded celestial movements with great care. The sky was believed to reflect harmony. The night was not conquered. It was observed. Through observation, time became. Understandable. The introduction of streetlights changed everything. Oil lamps came first, then gas, then electricity. Light extended activity. But it altered sleep. Historical accounts describe resistance. Night lost its depth. Stars faded. Sleep shortened. Darkness retreated. What was once shared, rest, became optional. Still, old night remains. In quiet towns, in rural places, in moments when lights go out, the night still knows how to be dark. The world once rested together. Darkness arrived. And with it, permission to slow. People listen more. They waited more. They slept in ways shaped by the sky. Much has changed. But the night remains. And when it is allowed to be quiet, it still offers what it always has: rest, orientation, space to let the day settle. The stories can continue on their own now.